Okay, if I could ask those leaving the public gallery to do so as quickly and as quietly as possible as we move on to the next item of business, which is a members' business debate on motion 17330 in the name of Kevin Stewart on Aberdeen to welcome the tall ships races. The debate will be concluded without any questions being put. I'd invite members wishing to participate to press the request to speak buttons, and I call on Jackie Dunbar on behalf of Kevin Stewart to open the debate around 7 minutes. Ms Dunbar.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And as you can see, I'm not Kevin Stewart, MSP. He has asked me to lead on his debate and pass on his apologies for not being here today due to him being ill, and I'm sure the Chamber will join me in wishing him a speedy recovery. The following are his words, and I'm happy to use them, although I think some of them are going to be a bit of a tongue twister. It's with immense pride that I welcome the tall ships race to Aberdeen. For Aberdeen, the arrival of the tall ships is more than just a visit, it's a homecoming. This homecoming of the tall ships coincides with the 200th anniversary of the Aberdeen Line, founded by George Thompson in 1825. Aberdeen's shipyards were the home of the Aberdeen Clippers, the fastest sailing ships ever built. The first Aberdeen Clipper and the first ship to sport the famous Aberdeen bow was the Scottish Maid, designed and built in 1839. Her revolutionary bow was so extraordinary that the ship was built back to front, with the Aberdeen bow hidden under a fake normal one until the day she was launched. The new bow proved its worth, and the iconic design of the Aberdeen Tea Clipper was born. And over the next 30 years, Aberdeen Tea Clippers reigned supreme as the fastest ships to sail the seas, with speed records falling with every new ship launched until the greatest of all tea clippers, the Thermopylae, was launched in 1868 from Aberdeen's Walter Hood and Company shipyard. However, her reign as the fastest ship on the seas would not go unchallenged, and just a year later, her great rival, the North East-designed Cutty Sark, was launched. This set the stage for the greatest tall ship race in history, the Great Tea Clipper Race of 1872, a race between Inverbervie design and Aberdonian workmanship. Both ships set off from Shanghai together on the 18th of June, with the Cutty Sark steadily building up a lead of 400 miles. However, the Cutty Sark, like her namesake nightdress, cut little too close to the wind and broke her rudder in a storm while passing between Java and Sumatra. Determined not to be defeated, the crew of the Cutty Sark cobbled together a new rudder from scrap iron and set off in pursuit of the Thermopylae. Despite the efforts of the Cutty Sark's crew, they could not pass the Thermopylae, who arrived back in London first and retained her crown as the fastest ship in the world. The greatest battle of Aberdeen Tea Clippers rightly stands as the greatest tall ship race in history, and it was in the spirit of that race that today's tall ships race began. Although today's race is not a commercial venture for tea, it carries forward that very same spirit of competition, adventure and the pursuit of excellence. For those unfamiliar, the tall ships race isn't just a spectacle, it's an international event organised by Sail Training International, designed to promote youth development and international friendship through sail training. It brings together magnificent vessels from across the globe, crewed by young folk, many of whom are experiencing life at sea for the very first time. This includes young folk from Aberdeen who will be serving as crew aboard the racing ships and will learn seamanship, teamwork and resilience, forging bonds that transcend borders and cultures. One such person is Kevin Stewart's constituent, Noah Tate, who will be competing aboard the Dutch schooner the Golden Leeuw in the race across the North Sea from Aberdeen to Christiansand. Several of the larger sailing ships have also served as naval training vessels, with cadets from as far afield as Peru and Oman taking part. Sadly, however, the perils of the sea remain today, and my thoughts are with the families of the two young Navy cadets of the Mexican naval training ship, the Cuauhtémoc, who died when their ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge as she set sail across the Atlantic to join the tall ships race. This year's race will begin at Le Havre with 4 stages: Dunkirk, Aberdeen, Christiansand and Esbjerg, with the tall ships due to arrive in Aberdeen on the 19th of July. The tall ships will spend 4 days in Aberdeen, and there will be a packed schedule of events over the long weekend to celebrate both the tall ships and Aberdeen's own maritime heritage. Of course, the Aberdeen Sea Cadets will be on hand to showcase the heritage of the Aberdeen Clippers, but a wide array of other events is also planned. This includes TechFest focusing on Aberdeen's engineering heritage with hands-on STEM activities. In addition, the North East Scotland College and the Scottish Maritime Academy will be in attendance to promote maritime careers, including their popular trainee deckhand course and Officer of the Watch cadetship programmes. There will also be daily quayside music concerts, including Scottish music talent from Deacon Blue and Tidelines. With these events and the tall ships themselves, the race will prove to be a true spectacle. Beyond the spectacle, the tall ships race embodies values that are timeless: the importance of teamwork, the discipline of seamanship and the thrill of adventure. These ships are living museums, preserving the skills and artistry of bygone era while simultaneously inspiring the next generation of seafarers and global citizens. They remind us that even in our digital age, there's an enduring magic in the power of wind and sail, and an irreplaceable value in hands-on experience and shared endeavour. So as the tall ships prepare to grace our waters, I urge you all to embrace this incredible opportunity. Come down to Aberdeen Harbour, witness these magnificent vessels up close, feel the spray of the sea, and let the spirit of the Cutty Sark, the Thumbuli and the Great Tea Clipper race transport you to a time of grand adventure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Dunbar. We move to the open debate. I call first Liam Kerr to be followed by Audrey Nicholl. Around 4 minutes. Mr Kerr.
Yeah, thank you, Presiding Officer. I was delighted to see Kevin Stewart bring forward this motion on welcoming the tall ships to Aberdeen, and I thank Jackie Dunbar for stepping in. It was no surprise to me that he did, as whilst Kevin and I differ on some, perhaps many, political things, what he and I share, along with the other North East cross-party representatives who attended a briefing at the Aberdeen Maritime Museum in April, and indeed other North East members here today, is a deep desire to do what is best for Aberdeen and the North East. And, Presiding Officer, the return of the tall ships races between the 19th and the 22nd of July, that's only 8 weeks from now, for the first time in 28 years, is definitely a great thing for us in the North East. As Jackie Dunbar said, what an opportunity we have here. I think much credit needs to be given to the host partners, the Council, Aberdeen Inspired, the Port of Aberdeen. We also need to acknowledge the support of Event Scotland and the funding of the UK Government, because, Presiding Officer, we know that Aberdeen is a great place to live, to work and to visit. There are so many attractions there already, like the Maritime Museum that I mentioned earlier, the Art Gallery, where visitors can also see the Monsters of the Deep Science Fact or Fiction exhibition, which opened last weekend, because it has extended hours during the tall ships race. There are the shows at the Music Hall in HMT, on which note, don't forget we had our own independent Belmont Cinema, which will rise again if viewers support it at belmontcinema.co.uk. And of course, the campaign to save the Aberdeen Arts Centre has just launched, and viewers can help save that in its time of need by visiting aberdeenartscentre.com. But I think it's fair to say that people don't realise quite how good Aberdeen is and how much there is. So the tall ships race in Aberdeen from the 19th of July will be an amazing event of itself, but also act to showcase the best of Aberdeen and the North East. Now, as we heard from Jackie Dunbar, there are nearly 50 tall ships coming. We're getting the Red Arrows. We're getting quayside concerts. We're getting a march. There will be 60 business and charity stalls at the North Harbour and North End of Union Street. And there are hundreds of opportunities for young people aged 15 to 25 to get on board through the Sail Training International Sail Trainee Programme. And the fact is, Presiding Officer, that the projected 400,000 visitors won't only provide a welcome boost to our local economy, but also showcase that Aberdeen is not merely a great energy city, but it is also a tourism hub for both itself, for the attractions in the city, but also for the wider Shire. What a legacy this event could leave, which would be a fitting tribute to the 300 volunteers who've been recruited to support the event. 60% of them live in the city. Around 60% are female. A quarter of them are under 40. The fact is, Presiding Officer, there's too much to tell about the tall ships races returning to Aberdeen from the 19th to 22nd of July. But what I would say to people watching this is you can find out all about being a sail trainee, volunteering, the concerts, the stalls, the ships themselves, the event programme, how you can get involved simply by visiting tallshipsaberdeen.com. And I'll finish simply by saying this, Presiding Officer, I cannot wait to be one of the 400,000. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr Kerr. I now call Audrey Nicholl to be followed by Michael Mara. Around 4 minutes. Ms Nicholl.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And I'm very pleased that my colleague Kevin Stewart has brought forward a debate which celebrates and highlights the return of the tall ships races to Aberdeen. The tall ships races is a wonderful opportunity for the city, as we have heard, and the wider North East, and indeed Scotland. And it is one that I believe is fitting for parliamentary recognition, and I wish to extend my thanks to Kevin Stewart again for bringing forward the debate. I wish him well, and I thank Jackie Dunbar for stepping in today. So, as we've already heard, in 57 days' time, the tall ship races will visit Aberdeen shores for the third time between the 19th and 22nd of July. And during this time, Port of Aberdeen and a whole host of other businesses and organisations will welcome at least 50 tall ships visiting from all around the world. And like my colleague Jackie Dunbar, I want to extend my sympathies to the families of the two cadets who lost their lives in the tragic incident involving a Mexican tall ship earlier this week, and that was due to participate in the event. So, as part of the tall ships races, 240 young people living in Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire will be offered a life-changing experience joining the crew of a tall ship sailing from Dunkirk to Aberdeen or Aberdeen to Kristiansand in Norway. And I'm sure that the rest of the Chamber will join me in wishing good luck to all the young cadets that will be embarking on their first voyage. And the tall ships races brings with it significant economic opportunities, as we've already heard. In fact, Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce anticipates that tens of millions of pounds will be injected into the city and the region's economy. And to capitalise on this opportunity, local businesses and charities will participate in, for example, Charlie's House, curated on the Quayside initiative, allowing the North East to further showcase local culture and produce at a wonderful open-air event, open-air market, both across the city and in the area of the harbour. And in addition to the economic benefits, the tall ships races provides a platform to showcase Scottish and Doric culture, local musicians, artwork and vibrant street performance that will be displayed throughout the city. And Aberdeen's history and maritime contributions will also be highlighted in free, informative events. And, as we've heard, Aberdeen Art Gallery has a stunning range of tall ships-themed souvenirs created by local creators and makers that reflects the maritime history and sheer spectacle of the tall ships. And, of course, a programme of open-air gigs, as we've heard, will see our very own Deacon Blue, Kaiser Chiefs and Tidelines entertain visitors. And certainly, as it goes without saying that this year's tall ships races will greatly benefit Aberdeen City and the surrounding region. So it's with this in mind that I also reflect on the impact of the previous tall ships races in Aberdeen. As we've heard, the tall ships races first visited Aberdeen in 1991. Crowds of more than 300,000 flocked to the Granite City to witness the great sailing ships and to enjoy a variety of performances. Aberdeen welcomed the tall ship races for a second time in 1997, coinciding with the bicentenary of the renowned Aberdeen Line, a shipping company known for its excellence and efficiency. And this event proved to be even more popular, with over 500,000 people attending. These races are a cherished memory for all those who attended, as well as the city itself, and as a result has left a truly lasting legacy. So in closing, Presiding Officer, I would like to congratulate everyone involved in the organisation and running of the 2025 Tall Ships races in Aberdeen, including all the volunteers who will support the event. And it is with your hard work that the Tall Ships races will remain a cherished part of Aberdeen's legacy. And lastly, I would again like to thank Kevin Stewart for bringing this debate forward, and invite anyone and everyone to visit the Tall Ships races in July. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Nicholl. And I call Michael Mara again, around 4 minutes. Mr Mara.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Can I begin by thanking Kevin Stewart for bringing the debate, and to Jackie Dunbar for standing in and transporting us to a time of grand adventure. I have to say, I'm not sure my nerves would have coped with the T-Clipper race being related in Kevin Stewart's theatrical elan. So perhaps we've all been saved something by Jackie Dunbar's intervention. So for nearly 50 years, the Tall Ships race have traversed ports across these islands, all over Europe, and even one transatlantic voyage in 1984 reaching as far as Quebec. And this is the third year in which Aberdeen has been involved, and the first time this century. And with around 50 tall ships and 1,500 crew arriving in Aberdeen for 4 days in July, the event is going to bring a carnival atmosphere to the city, with concerts, parades and even a display from the Red Arrows. I'm sure it's set to be a fantastic time in the Granite City. There's also an opportunity to board the great ships and learn more about their long history, some ships as old as 125 years. It's going to be a huge boost for businesses in the city, with tens of thousands of spectators expected to attend. I know that that will be very welcome for many hospitality and retail businesses in particular, given the challenges the sector has faced in recent years following the pandemic, and also this SNP government's failure to pass on rates relief from the UK Labour government. But events like this, and the Commonwealth Games, the Tour de France Grand Depart, which I know the Minister has had involvement in, are all very good for Scotland and the people of Scotland. They have the potential to showcase our country at its very best, and to give a much-needed boost to our local economy. Liam Kerr laid out very well some of the many attractions in Aberdeen that visitors are likely to be able to afford themselves of. And there are opportunity for great cultural exchange and dialogue around these events, and to see some of the world's great sportsmen and women at the top of their game. It's vitally important, of course, when these are organised, that the logistics are in place to minimise the negative disruption for local residents and to maximise enjoyment for all visitors. The use of the park and ride facility has been welcomed by my constituents. They'll be at 4 locations across the city, and that will help to reduce congestion in the city centre, and that is very welcome. The ships to be berthed at the Port of Aberdeen, which is so central to the economy of the city and the North East region, which I have the pleasure of representing. Around 43% of vessel traffic, Aberdeen is Scotland's busiest port. And since my election in 2021, I've worked closely with colleagues at the Port of Aberdeen and their Chief Executive, Bob Sanguinetti. As a trust port, is run by a board for the benefit of stakeholders, and with all the profits reinvested to safeguard and improve the port. And it's a real civic benefit to the city and to the wider community. The port has a very significant role in the offshore energy industry, with a significant proportion of the port's revenue coming from oil and gas, as it will do for decades to come. And while they work towards their goal of becoming the UK's first net zero port by 2040, it's one of the fundamental components of the North East, with thousands of jobs and providing essential logistics to keep our region's industry going. The recent £420 million expansion to the South Harbour will be transformative for the port's future, the potential to increase GVA contribution by 60% and the number of jobs supported by 45%, up to 17,500. So while not the typical vessels for the Port of Aberdeen, I know the port will welcome the tall ships and the further boost to Aberdeen's economy that this spectacle will bring.
Thank you, Mr Mara. I now invite Richard Leonard to respond to the debate. Minister, around 7 minutes, please.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. I think it would be appropriate to start by joining colleagues in sending my deepest condolences to the family, friends and others who knew the 2 young crew members and cadets who lost their lives on the Mexican Navy ship, the Cuauhtémoc, during the tragedy in New York this past Saturday. So while today's debate has clearly focused on the celebration to come in July in Aberdeen, we have to acknowledge the loss for the tall ships and sailing community of 2 of their own. And I noticed the statement last night from the Sail Training International body who are behind the tall ships race, who said that they, of course, wanted to acknowledge with sadness the fact that the Mexican Navy will no longer be participating in the tall ships race. Can I begin also by thanking, of course, Kevin Stewart for tabling this motion and, in his absence through illness, wish him the best for his recovery. And also thank members who have signed the motion as well, and of course for Jackie Dunbar for taking the helm today and so eloquently laying out the importance of this event and talking about the heritage of Aberdeen. As I've said many times before in the Chamber, the Scottish Government places huge value on major events. They have a unique ability to bring communities together, to offer lasting legacies for generations to come and provide considerable economic impact, both locally and nationally. And of course, we're committed to making sure that the country capitalises on these benefits and that we continue to be the perfect stage for such events. And we have a really good reputation in this space, as has just been referred to indeed by the previous speaker, evidenced by our success of delivery of events such as the 2014 Ryder Cup, the Open Golf Championships and the 2023 UCI Cycling World Championships, and our support, of course, for the upcoming 2026 Commonwealth Games, 2027 Tour de France and 2028 UEFA European Football Championships. And not forgetting, of course, the Island Games in Orkney, which I believe I will be attending the week before the tall ships race in Aberdeen. But clearly, I'm very pleased to be here today to share how the 2025 tall ships race in Aberdeen will continue in that pipeline of major events in Scotland and reinforce our nation's status as an outstanding major events destination. We're very proud to be working alongside our partners in Aberdeen City Council and indeed the UK Government and the Port Authority and other partners that have been mentioned. We provided £158,000 through Events Scotland's International Events Programme to help support the event. The International Events Programme supports the delivery of Scotland's national events strategy, Scotland the Perfect Stage, by investing in major world-class events that raise Scotland's profile and showcase Scotland's key event and tourism assets. These assets include our people, our cultural identity and our heritage and our national environment and, of course, our built environment as well. And the Tall Ships Race is a very fitting example of an event which does all of these things. It's an event that sits close to Scotland's heart. We have hosted it 4 times before the Tall Ships events. However, as this motion states, it has been 28 years since its return to the Granite City, with Aberdeen having previously hosted it in both 1991 and 1997. As part of Europe's largest free family festival, the 2025 event will see a fleet of 50 sailing vessels visit Aberdeen, a site that will no doubt be something to behold and will have been worth that 28-year wait. It truly does have the potential to be the biggest event Aberdeen will have had for a generation. Fittingly, 2025 also marks the 200th anniversary of the Aberdeen Line, which built more than 100 ships from the Walter Hood shipyard and in the very place that the tall ships will be berthed in July, which of course is a very good reminder of the city's rich heritage in terms of maritime. And beyond the tall ships races itself, Aberdeen's Festival of the Sea, which will extend either side of the event, will provide further opportunities for visitors and communities to enjoy and participate in this proud celebration of the region's heritage and culture, as well as highlighting further points of interest right across the whole of the city. Again, as others have said, the tall ships race will play host to an incredible 400,000 people, potentially. Clearly, this presents a very significant tourism opportunity for Aberdeen and the wider region, and also something that locals in the city and beyond will no doubt be excited about as well. We know there was many applications for the voluntary positions to help the event. I think 300 people were selected from 1,400 people who applied, and 60% of these people are from the city itself. And of course, we should pay tribute to the many volunteers that help support such events in Aberdeen and throughout the country as well. I think my final closing remarks really just want to revolve around what's happening in Aberdeen at the moment. This is a really exciting event, as many people have said. Many people may know I've got very strong personal connections to Aberdeen. I lived there for a while. When I was first elected to Parliament, I moved to Aberdeen as well, and I've got family connections to the city as well. Not least the fact I, of course, tend to have support the local football team, who we should wish them the best for the cup final this weekend. But I hope whoever wins, it's a successful cup final, and that both teams have an enjoyable occasion and both sets of fans. But there's a lot of positive things happening just now in the city. And I just want to pay tribute to the creativity, the ingenuity and the hard work of so many bodies in the city at the moment. Do I have time to take an intervention? Yes.
Jackie Dunbar.
Thank you, and I thank the Minister for taking the intervention. You were just discussing what's happening this weekend. It would be remiss of me if I didn't mention that the Dennislaw Trail will also be opening this weekend, and another great walkabout for when folk come and see our tall ships.
Minister.
Thank you. Very point well made by Jackie Dunbar to highlight that. And when I was in the city just a couple of days ago, at the weekend actually, I noticed the murals with Dennislaw as well, and it was something to behold, to see that as you drive in through the Great Northern Road. So the Tall Ships Race is one of many positive developments for the city. And as I said before, I just want to pay tribute to the organisations and partners who are involved in promoting economic development in the city at the moment. There's a number of really amazing events which just illustrates and exemplifies the ambition of the city, of the Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce, of the Council, the various other initiatives that are promoting the city at the moment. It's really an exciting place with a huge amount of potential. So I am paying close attention to these exciting developments in the city. Scottish ministers will be represented at the Tall Ships Race, and I just want to wish all the participants the best of luck, and the city the best of luck in hosting this fantastic event. Congratulate all the sponsors and other partners as well, and let's look forward as a country to one of Scotland's major events in the coming months.
Thank you very much, Minister. That concludes the debate, and I suspend this meeting of Parliament until 2 p.m.